King Von versus NBA YoungBoy. This beef started in the weirdest way possible. Von was actually a YoungBoy fan early on. Sources say he looked up to YB and even wanted to collaborate, but that admiration flipped fast, and when it did, it turned deadly. Von came up in Chicago's drill scene, repping O Block and the Black Disciples. He was tight with Lil Durk and had street credibility that translated into music success. YoungBoy was from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with his own street reputation and a growing fan base. On paper, they should have been natural collaborators. In 2018, Von was on Instagram Live listening to a YoungBoy track when something snapped. He went off saying, "What the f YoungBoy talking about on this song, bruh? He talking crazy. He ain't even like that. I'ma be on his Now, you got caps in your raps." Von was calling YoungBoy fake, saying he was lying in his lyrics. In hip-hop, that's one of the worst accusations you can make. You can diss someone's music, their success, even their family. But calling them fake, that's questioning their entire identity. Then came the woman drama. Von started posting photos with Janya Mesho, YoungBoy's baby mother. Von claimed it was professional, maybe music-related, but fans saw it as Von crossing a line, disrespecting YoungBoy on the most personal level possible. In street culture, messing with another man's baby mother is a declaration of war. YoungBoy's camp, including Quando Rondo, started dropping subtle jabs on social media and in interviews. The tension was building, but it was still mostly online drama and subliminal shots. Von tried to downplay it later, saying, "Ain't no rap beef and ain't no real beef unless somebody got shot or something." Those words turned prophetic. The beef simmered for months with social media posts, subliminal lyrics, and indirect threats. Both sides had loyal fan bases that amplified every slight, every perceived diss. What started as Von questioning YoungBoy's authenticity had grown into a full-blown rivalry with real-world consequences. On November 6th, 2020, outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, Von's crew ran into Quando Rondo's group. This wasn't a coincidence. Atlanta was neutral territory, but when two rival crews meet at 3 a.m. outside a hookah lounge, nothing good is going to happen. The confrontation escalated fast. Words turned to fists. Fists turned to gunfire. Timothy Lul Tim Leaks, affiliated with YoungBoy's circle, pulled the trigger. Von died at the scene. Leaks was arrested and charged with murder, but here's where it gets complicated. In August 2023, the charges were dropped under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. Prosecutors ruled it self-defense. Legally, no one was held responsible for Von's death. YoungBoy wasn't done. In 2022, he released Bring the Hook with lyrics about O Block Pack getting rolled up and Atlanta boys getting folded up. O Block was Von's neighborhood. YoungBoy was literally smoking on Von's memory, turning his death into a punchline. Lil Durk fired back with "Ah ha," defending Von's legacy and taking shots at YoungBoy's camp. The beef continued even after Von was dead. YoungBoy was never charged in Von's death, but the associate connection through Quando Rondo and the posthumous disses show the ongoing animosity. What started as musical criticism had ended with a young father dead in an Atlanta parking lot. Yella Beezy versus Mo3. This Dallas beef started with a lawsuit, not a diss track. In January 2020, Brandon Rainwater, Mo3's manager, filed a $1 million lawsuit against Yella Beezy. He claimed Beezy and his crew jumped him outside V Live, a Dallas strip club, after he tried to enter. According to the lawsuit, Rainwater was followed, knocked down, and beaten badly. He suffered a dislocated hip and other injuries. This wasn't subliminal shots or Twitter beef. This was documented violence with medical records and legal paperwork. The lawsuit made their tension public and legal. In Dallas's tight-knit rap scene, where artists compete for the same audiences and street credibility, this kind of public beef was explosive. Both Beezy and Mo3 were trying to claim the throne of Dallas rap, and now there was blood in the water. Mo3, real name Melvin Noble, was known for his raw street tales and authentic delivery. He'd survived multiple shootings and wasn't afraid to rap about his experiences. Yella Beezy had commercial success and radio play, but some questioned his street credibility. The lawsuit added fuel to those questions. After the lawsuit, the beef stayed mostly underground. Social media subliminals, interviews with coded language, public denials. But in a city like Dallas, where the rap scene and street politics overlap, this kind of tension doesn't just disappear. Both artists were operating in the same spaces, hitting the same clubs, working with overlapping crews. The competition for status and influence in Dallas rap made every interaction potentially volatile. On November 11, 2020, Mo 3 was driving on I-35E in Dallas when his car was approached by shooters. He tried to flee on foot, but they caught him and shot him dead on the highway. It was broad daylight, brazen, and brutal. Two suspects were quickly identified: Quan, Dontrell White, and Devin Brown. Both were indicted in connection with Mo3's death. Here's where it gets crazy. In March 2025, nearly 5 years after Mo3's death, Dallas prosecutors dropped a bombshell. They indicted Yella Beezy on capital murder charges, alleging he hired Quan White to kill Mo3. This wasn't just a street beef anymore. This was allegedly a contract killing. The indictment claims Beezy paid White to carry out the hit. The remuneration element makes it capital murder, which carries the death penalty in Texas. The rainwater assault lawsuit from 2020 suddenly looks like the first domino in a chain that led to murder. What started as a strip club altercation had allegedly escalated to hired assassination. This case is still ongoing. Beezy maintains his innocence, but prosecutors are building a case that connects the dots from the strip club assault to the highway killing. If they're right, this represents one of the clearest examples of rap beef escalating to hired murder. Young Dolph versus Yo Gotti. This Memphis beef started with a business decision gone wrong. In 2014, Young Dolph allegedly turned down a record deal with Yo Gotti's CMG label. In the music industry, that's just business. In Memphis street politics, that was disrespect. Gotti had been the king of Memphis rap for years. He had the connections, the street credibility, the commercial success. CMG was his empire, and he was used to getting what he wanted. When this young upstart named Dolph refused his offer, it planted seeds of resentment that would grow into something deadly. Dolph wasn't just any rapper. He was talented, independent, and uncompromising. He didn't need a label deal to succeed, and he wasn't afraid to say so. That independence threatened Gotti's position as the gatekeeper of Memphis rap. In February 2016, Dolph posted a subliminal tweet: "Bra went from being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater." He didn't name Gotti, but everyone in Memphis knew who he was talking about. The tweet was a public declaration that their relationship had soured. Then Dolph announced his album title, King of Memphis. That wasn't just a name, that was a direct challenge to Gotti's throne. In a city where respect and territory matter, Dolph was essentially declaring war. He was saying he didn't need Gotti's permission to be successful in Memphis. Black Youngsta, one of Gotti's CMG artists, became the attack dog. He publicly threatened Dolph, called him soft, posted about wanting to smack him when he saw him. The beef was no longer subliminal. It was out in the open, and it was getting dangerous. In 2017, Dolph was shot in Los Angeles near a Shoe Palace store. He survived, but Yo Gotti was named as a person of interest in the shooting. No charges were filed, but the message was clear. This beef had moved from words to bullets. Dolph used the shooting as fuel for his music and his legend. He bragged about surviving, about being bulletproof, about his enemies being too weak to finish the job. Every song became a taunt. Every public appearance a middle finger to his rivals. He released an album called Bulletproof and wore his survival like a badge of honor. The tension continued for years. Dolph kept releasing music, kept making money, kept proving he didn't need CMG or Gotti's approval. Every success was another insult to Gotti's authority. On November 17, 2021, Dolph was visiting Makita's Cookies in Memphis, a routine stop in his own neighborhood, but someone was watching, waiting. Gunmen ambushed him in the store, shooting him multiple times. He died at the scene. Justin Johnson was convicted of the murder and sentenced to life in prison. Cornelia Smith testified about the plot, describing how they stalked Dolph and carried out the hit. Another figure, Hernandez Govan, was prosecuted as an alleged organizer but was acquitted in 2025. During court proceedings, witnesses testified about a $100,000 bounty placed on Dolph's head by Gotti's camp. The claims suggested CMG affiliates had put a price on Dolph's life, but no direct legal conviction has tied Gotti himself to ordering the hit. The motive was clear. Dolph had refused to bow down, had challenged Gotti's authority, had claimed the title of King of Memphis. In street politics, that kind of disrespect demands a response. Julio Foolio versus Youngin Ace. This Jacksonville beef was gang warfare with a soundtrack. ATK faction, led by Youngin Ace, was at war with KTA faction, represented by Julio Foolio. The music was just the public face of a deeper, deadlier conflict. Jacksonville's gang dynamics are complex and deadly. A TK and KTA weren't just rap crews. They were street organizations with real beef, real territory, and real bodies. The rap careers were secondary to the gang affiliation. 2017 Foolio's cousin Zion Malik Brown was killed in his home. That death lit a fuse that would burn for years. In street culture, family blood demands family blood. The killing wasn't just a loss, it was a debt that had to be paid. During Ace's birthday celebration in 2018, gunmen opened fire on his car. 2 people died, but Ace survived. The shooting was widely seen as KTA retaliation for Zion's death. The cycle of violence was spinning faster, and both sides were losing people. The beef played out in music as much as in the streets. Both Ace and Foolio used their platforms to taunt enemies, honor fallen friends, and threaten retaliation. Their songs weren't just entertainment, they were psychological warfare. In March 2021, Ace dropped Who I Smoke, a diss track over Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles. But this wasn't just a diss. Ace was literally naming dead KTA members, turning their deaths into punchlines, smoking on their memory. The track went viral, but it also escalated the beef to a new level. Foolio fired back with When I See You remix, dancing around graves, showing images of fallen ATK members, taunting Ace about his dead friends. Both sides were weaponizing death, turning murder into music. The disrespect was unforgivable. The social media warfare was constant. Both sides posted threats, showed weapons, flashed gang signs. Every post was a provocation, every story a challenge. The internet amplified the beef, turning local gang conflict into viral content. On June 23, 2024, Foolio was in Tampa for his birthday when multiple gunmen ambushed him in a hotel parking lot. They fired dozens of rounds, making sure he wouldn't survive. Several suspects from Jacksonville were arrested, all allegedly connected to rival factions. Ace hasn't been charged with ordering the hit, but authorities called it retaliation within the ATK versus KTA conflict. The long history of diss tracks, public threats, and mutual provocations provided all the motive they needed. Lil Jojo versus Chief Keef. This Chicago beef helped birth drill music and showed how dangerous social media could make gang rivalries. Joseph Coleman, known as Lil Jojo, was just 18 years old and affiliated with the Gangster Disciples. Chief Keef repped the Black Disciples. In Chicago, that's not just music rivalry, that's life and death. And Jojo was part of the early drill scene that was exploding out of Chicago in 2012. This wasn't polished studio rap. This was raw, aggressive music that reflected the violence happening on Chicago's South Side. The beats were hard, the lyrics were brutal, and the artists weren't afraid to name names or call out specific enemies. In 2012, Jojo dropped 300K, a direct response to Chief Keef's 300. The track wasn't subtle. Jojo used BDK, which stands for Black Disciple Killer. He was literally calling for the death of his rival's gang. The music video showed firearms and direct gang references. In Chicago's environment, that was signing your own death warrant. The beef wasn't just musical. Chicago police and media had already flagged the rivalry between Gangster Disciples and Black Disciples. Jojo's disses brought gang conflict into the public musical sphere, making private street beef into viral content. Every diss track was watched by thousands. Every threat was broadcast to the world. On September 4th, 2012, Jojo and his crew drove through rival territory, filming themselves taunting Chief Keef's clique. This wasn't smart. This was a death wish. During one exchange with Lil Reese and others, Reese reportedly called back, "Joe, I'ma kill you." Jojo posted his location on Twitter that evening, the 6900 block of South Princeton Avenue. He was basically giving his enemies a GPS coordinate. Around 7:30 p.m., a sedan pulled up and fired several shots. Jojo was riding on the back of a friend's bicycle when he was hit. He tried to run north on Princeton, but collapsed. Police found 6 9mm shell casings at the scene. CCTV footage captured parts of the shooting, but not enough to identify the shooter. Jojo was pronounced dead at the hospital. Chief Keef posted a mocking tweet shortly after Jojo's death. He later claimed his account was hacked, but Jojo's mother didn't buy it. She publicly suspected Keef's clique hired a hitman. After Jojo's death, a remix surfaced with lyrics threatening Lil Reese. Lil Reese gonna die tonight. The cycle of threats and retaliation continued even after Jojo was in the ground. No arrests were ever made. Police looked at social media, YouTube videos, tweets, and public taunts, but couldn't find evidence strong enough to charge anyone. The case remains unsolved, but Jojo's death marked a turning point. It showed how drill music and social media could turn gang beef into public spectacle, and how that spectacle could get you killed. These cases show what happens when music industry drama meets street politics. Jojo, Vaughn, MO3, Dolph, and Foolio were all talented artists with promising careers. Now they're all dead, victims of conflicts that spiraled beyond control. The survivors faced legal consequences and destroyed careers. The families grieve while the internet turns their deaths into content. Hip-hop has always reflected street reality, but these cases show what happens when the streets start reflecting hip-hop. When diss tracks become death sentences and studio beef becomes real bullets, everybody loses. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting every day. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.